everybody. Welcome to the new episode of I Am Right. I am Rocker Mike. Bottom left, we have Rob Rossi. We have Knowledge Allah, top right, and Eric Moore. How are you, buddy?
Pretty fantastic.
All right, great. Knowledge, you doing good today?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we were talking before the show. You're the only one that was sober last night, so you're going to host the show today. Where were we? So last time we were on, there's been a lot of activity in the last few weeks. We'll just recap for a minute. We were talking Doge, and all the great stuff that Elon Musk was uncovering, and for a few days the news cycle was, when is this guy going to leave? There's a cutoff date in May where he has to leave as an advisor. They had protests all over two weekends ago, I believe, all over different cities in the country. Of course, it comes down to 0.1% of the population protested. It doesn't mean shit. Okay, but they played it off like it was a huge thing. I loved it because I was coming through the city that day and it was raining, so I was happy for these motherfuckers to be standing in the rain, carrying their signs. I was cutting through Chelsea in the West Village, and a bunch of purple hairs had their signs. I was like, okay, but now Doge is, they're not even talking about it because there's two topics right now: tariffs, and Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That's really the whole news cycle right now is what Trump is doing with these tariffs, and Garcia, who is, we'll get into him. He's an MS-13 member that got deported, and the Democrats want him back because that's their base. That's their base now, right? MS-13.
That's unbelievable.
I can't. And there's people that are actually saying, he's a good guy and this and that. The wife was in court just a couple of years ago. She was all beaten up. She was going to press charges against him, for him smacking her around. Now she's praising him. I mean, what do you think of that, Eric? I mean,
it's well, first, she's got battered wife syndrome, whatever.
Yeah.
I think she's getting paid.
Well, part of it is Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And also, remember, in the whole Latino community, it's really, really frowned upon to leave your husband.
Yeah.
Stand by your man. No, but you had a federal judge. Well, first you had the police gang squad say he was an MS-13 member,
right? And
a confidential informant confirmed it. Then a federal judge looked at that and said, this is pretty reliable. You're deported." He appealed it. Then another judge said, "You know what? I looked at this evidence. It's pretty reliable. You're deported." Appeal denied. And then you have the president of El Salvador saying, "Yeah, that guy's an MS-13 member."
Yeah.
But the media will tell you, no, he's not.
Yeah, and social media, of course, everybody out on Facebook and all the social medias, they're saying, people are just believing it, that he is he's not an MS-13 member when he clearly is. Intelligence shows that he's got all the tattoos, and back in 2019 he was gonna be deported, but they stopped it. A judge stopped it, right?
Well, what happened was, last minute after he lost his appeal, Garcia, he didn't deny he was an MS-13. He said, "If I go back, a rival gang is going to kill me."
Well, when you say rival gang, I mean, again, maybe it's not MS-13, maybe it's something else, but he's still
MS-14.
It's MS-12.
So he could have been deported, but this judge said you just can't deport him to El Salvador. But the El Salvadorian president said MS-13 doesn't exist here anymore, and the gang that was a rival doesn't exist here anymore.
Right.
So
nothing to worry about.
He's good.
Yeah. This what's his name? The president of El Salvador.
Bukele,
something like that. Yeah. This guy is no joke, man. He cleaned up that country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's, we don't even know what went on over there. They had to do some heavy shit.
Oh yeah.
They might have just executed all those motherfuckers.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hey, or made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
And he got jokes too. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what he probably did? That Castro, every time he lifted his hand, there was shootings.
Yeah. What gets me is being Rocker Mike, I get all this stuff from musicians all over the place. Okay. And they're probably not even watching, so I'm just going to say it. It's like every freaking Lower East Side, too big guitar player is just off their fucking heads, losing it, melting down. They're not even talking about their music. They're just melting down about Trump. Anything.
Oh, no, you can't have a conversation with people.
Yeah, no, you can't. They lost their fucking minds, and they're actually throwing in everything. I mean, it's not just these people; it's all these liberals that they're throwing in with a gang member.
That's insane.
It is.
The guy got caught bringing people from Texas to Maryland. He got caught in Tennessee.
Human trafficking thing, right?
Yeah. So he got pulled over, and because at the time this was under the Biden administration, so the police said we couldn't do anything because Biden wasn't going to press any charges.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ICE had their hands tied; they couldn't do anything during the Biden years, and it's amazing how Trump in just weeks, really. I mean, he's not even 100 days in. Okay, has totally gotten the border under control. It's down to a trickle. For illegal immigration, and you're always going to have some. It's never going to be zero.
Right.
But I mean, that if that's all it took to do that, just untie ICE's hands. You don't even have to change the laws. The laws are fine the way they are for the most part. Let them do their jobs. That's all it took. So for 4 years, Biden had the door wide open, gave ICE an order not to do anything. It all had to be intentional.
Look at it this way.
Yeah.
Look who was the border czar for his administration.
Mayorkas, right?
No.
It's Kamala Harris.
Border czar. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so she was the border czar, and we've seen how well of a job she does. They had a mariachi band when you came across the country. So,
well, to be fair, she grew up in a middle class family.
And you know how that is. There you go.
So she really didn't do anything with these guys. Like she didn't enforce the border. She let people just walk in, whatever. They were backflipping one time. So nothing happens. And then when you have a new border czar who actually does the job, look at the results we're getting.
And it's quick. That's what I'm saying.
But also what I'm thinking is, so I think they let the border be wide open. So you have these people who will be loyal to the Democrats, who will vote blue no matter who.
Right. It can't be anything else than that.
You got that, and you got the more bodies you have in your state, the more seats you get in the House.
Yeah, the House of Representatives. Well, because remember, New York and California lost seats in the House.
Well, first we got to get those seats as voters. They didn't exactly succeed in that.
You don't need to be an American citizen to vote in these places, Mike.
Some of these places, but I'm saying to like totally flip things blue, like Texas. Okay, they would have had to get these people as citizens.
Well, they don't even need them to vote. Just counting them on the census automatically gives them more seats.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So does being a citizen matter if you're on the census?
No.
So you're just a body.
It goes by bodies.
Just a physical body.
That's why New York.
When they do the census, then they go to your house. They ask how many people are here. They don't ask how many citizens and questions.
Did they ever ask?
No,
I don't think they ever asked.
No, they're not allowed to come to the Bronx.
They tried to add citizenship onto the census, and Democrats flipped. They were like, "No, you can't add it," because they thought it was going to make people afraid, illegals afraid to fill out the census.
I seem to remember that because if you remember, Obama took the census office into the executive branch.
Mm-hmm.
So he controlled it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think it was the 2010
Yeah.
census. Okay. You didn't even hear anything about the 2020 census. Did they do it?
Yeah, I think that's where they lost seats.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember filling out anything with 2020.
Oh, they probably didn't come to my house. They go, screw him.
Yeah, they skipped me. That guy's lumped up. I'm not counting him. But yeah, okay. So obviously, you know, getting Garcia deported now.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is strange with this is the administration admitted that they made a mistake in deporting him. That he wasn't supposed to be deported.
It was a mistake, but it wasn't.
Right.
They were the guy representing them in court. Wasn't arguing in the best interest of the administration. He had his own agenda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You see the case?
So that's a whole other problem that's going
yeah.
on.
So you could say, okay, it was an error that the error was supposedly that they sent him to El Salvador, but the Alien Enemies Act overrides any withhold order that a judge did, because now these are terrorists. Like, imagine someone from the Taliban saying, "Oh, if you send me back to Afghanistan, I'm going to be killed," and they go, "Oh no, okay, we're not going to send you back."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure everybody would go, "No, he's a terrorist. We don't care."
Yeah.
Well, Trump made the gangs basically terrorists. Yeah, you know, under that old law.
And the Supreme Court upheld that he could do it.
Right. The Democrats melted down. I saw that. Yeah. Everything is a meltdown. But then you got Senator Van Hollen spending taxpayer money to go and break bread with Garcia down in
And margaritas.
drink margaritas. Yeah.
As per the El Salvadorian president, they were margaritas.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it was margaritas. I couldn't tell if it was a frozen margarita or.
Well, no, the president said they were sipping margaritas. So
yeah. I wonder if it was frozen or do they have frozen margaritas?
Oh no, they had pictures of them. They had pictures of the glass with the salt around the rim. Yeah,
that shit is funny.
Yeah, the senator tried to he kind of doctored the pictures to only show the glasses of water, and then the president sent the one with the pictures where the booze was in the shot.
Yeah,
there was a picture that went around social media last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's legit, but did Trump show a picture of this guy's tattoos like it was a blow up? That might have been some bullshit that somebody put out.
But a lot of people across the internet, this is something people don't understand gang colors and gang symbols. Like they said, oh, it was only a bull's hat. You know,
well, that means something.
It means something. It means something. You know, I was just reading a story earlier that schools are outlawing the students wearing the color red because anything red is gang colors.
Yeah,
like a Crip.
Like Bloods.
Yeah.
Blood. I mean, blood is
Bloods.
red. Yeah, Bloods are red. Crips are blue. Yeah.
So you can't wear a red hat. You can't wear, a red shirt.
Well, they love to ban the red hat.
Me when I went to LA. I went to LA a few years ago, and we all know I'm a big Yankee fan. So I wanted to bring wear a Yankee shirt. A lot of the Yankee shirts are blue. So I'm checking in with my homegirl out there, and I'm like, yeah, well, can I wear this? And I know her well enough. On the phone, she kind of paused. I was like, all right, I just won't bring it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to be in the tourist areas, I just don't want any problems.
Well, Democrats will tell you a hat doesn't mean anything, but then if they see you in a MAGA hat.
Well, they definitely want to paint that hat.
Speaking of which, did you see the incident on the train?
No, what happened?
It's about 2-3 weeks ago. It was he was an Asian guy with a Latino guy.
Oh, yeah.
She fell over on 23rd Street. She fell.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, face, dude.
Yo, she face planted hard.
He's a racist. He goes, but I got brown skin.
He goes, I'm Asian. How can I be racist?
That was hilarious.
But they of course, within 30 seconds of that coming out, there's people that change it, and they made it like I don't know, AOC chasing Trump. Put his head on, and face plants on the freaking platform.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh man, the power of the internet.
Yeah.
The shit that they can do with AI is pretty scary.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just getting better every day. You can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
tell. You can't even tell what's real, what's not. You know,
Yeah,
that's
I
just,
literally updated my Adobe to add like the AI feature in there.
yeah. Well, even recently, I was messing around with it on Facebook,
Mhm.
and when you went, at first it couldn't make a picture of you. It couldn't do
Yeah.
that. Okay. Now it can.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you like say you want to make me look like, I don't know, somebody, right? They kind of morph you with that person.
Yeah.
It's weird. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't mean make me look like him that way. I just dress me like that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like that. You got to be specific, but it's getting more intelligent every time.
Oh, yeah.
But we've seen The Matrix and we've seen Terminator. We gotta relax.
I gotta show you.
We know how Terminator goes.
Exactly.
I did one with the me after Kingpin. It looked pretty good.
What's that, Rob?
Yeah, the Kingpin.
That's funny as shit.
What's Kingpin? What is that?
From Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
The bald head, the suit.
Yeah.
And
Private Pilot playing Kingpin.
put a cane on me. It just made me look like.
Aren't you the Kingpin? Like, come on.
Exactly.
I'm the drunk. I'm the drunk king.
So let's shift gears for a second. I'm going to ask you knowledge about this because you said you were going to. We got an election coming up in New York City, okay, and it's obvious. Adams decided to run as
the Democrats took him out the bus.
They're looking at bringing Cuomo back, which would be insane, okay? And he's actually leading in the polls, which cracks me up. I mean, the guy was a sexual predator. Basically, the Democrats threw him out, okay? And now they want to accept him because they don't even know what to do.
Well, their excuse is, well, you elected Trump, right?
So that makes it okay?
But here's the difference.
Yeah.
Trump was a he said, she said case.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
With
real.
Cuomo, they actually have video and audio of him doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's recently.
Yeah, exactly.
He resigned off this.
He was forced to resign.
Yeah.
Whatever, but he still resigned because of this.
And doesn't anybody remember the nursing homes? I mean,
that was my second point. Yeah, I was going to get into that.
Yeah.
So you have this guy being responsible for the deaths of people during COVID. Then the guy is like, he resigned for sexual harassment or whatever. And this is the guy that they want to be mayor.
So I say this to all my bartender and Me Too friends. How can you elect a guy, one, that he's a sexual predator for my Me Too friends, two, for all my bartender friends out there, this is the guy that basically killed your industry.
Yeah.
That said, you're not an essential worker.
it's a good point.
Who cares about you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he made them make those stupid sandwiches.
The Cuomo sandwich.
The 7B cheese sandwich that I
you gotta have come on.
That I had to wash down with whiskey that Gina was serving out the window. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, so Gina had to roll. She had to put her hand out the window to service. I got like a bag of chips or some bullshit.
Half a cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, it's a good point, Eric. I mean, he destroyed the bar industry and the restaurant industry.
It still hasn't recovered.
That has not recovered. A lot of places had to close.
Yeah.
They totally handled COVID wrong in New York. We saw it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he even said, Cuomo said, "Oh, surprising that all the cases we're having now are people that stayed home." Remember that? He said that.
They made you stay home.
You should have went to work like me.
I went to work.
So did I. I didn't miss a day.
No.
I went.
I even got overtime.
Me too. So did I.
It was like, we at one point at Verizon, we weren't allowed to go in anybody's house or apartment. You couldn't go in. You can go in the building.
Yeah.
You could talk to the maintenance guys. You could talk to the doorman. Okay. But you couldn't go up and see the customer. All right. Which I'm like, this is stupid. All right.
Yeah.
So then, being a repairman, most jobs you could fix without being in the apartment.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you might have that 1 out of 25 jobs that you got to go in.
Yeah.
You know. So I had to tell a few people, listen, the problem is going up towards your apartment, and I can't do anything about it. I can't come in. Okay.
Thanks.
So these people were put on the bottom of the pile, and they had no fucking phones until after all that was lifted. You know, and
Well, I had my Verizon installed. The guy just said, "Screw it." He just came to my apartment and installed it.
Because you live in
and you know they wanted you to. We were taking classes on wearing masks.
Oh yeah,
Okay? It was insane. I'm like, let me go out and do my job. I don't want to sit in the office.
Yeah.
I'm catching COVID from the guy next to me. You know, I wanted to be by myself. You know, and I never caught COVID. Well, I basically had it at some point early on before it really hit. I remember like December, January.
Well, you saw that article I posted where the first super spreader event was in Wuhan in like September, October.
Mm-hmm.
When they had the military games, and they said all these soldiers, U.S. soldiers, came down with COVID like in October.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I saw
they took it home.
Yeah. I saw something yesterday where they kind of proved that it was formed in a lab.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody is now saying yes, it's from a lab.
So what? So
did we say that 5 years ago?
We knew it. Everybody with a brain knew it. And but the real question is what are they gonna do about it? Okay. Let's talk about these talks. Okay, obviously the tariffs are bringing people to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about China for a second, because China's our main adversary now. Okay, economically and I would say militarily too, unfortunately. But what's stopping Trump from tying COVID into these talks that are going to be happening? Say, hey, we'll lift the tariffs on your goods, but what are you going to pay us to recoup the damage we lost from
COVID?
Yeah,
that would be
ballsy, and I wouldn't put it past them.
Nah, you know how you do it.
How?
You call China, you tell them we ain't paying you. Fuck you.
Well, China's hurting right now.
Yeah.
People keep talking about the U.S. Our company, China. We are one China. We buy from China. We are 1/3 of their market, and we just said, screw you. We're not going to buy from you.
Did you see the Chinese guy talking spicy?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yo, we've been here for 5,000 years.
5,000 years. Yep.
We'll be here for 5,000 more."
I saw that.
He's like, United States is 15%. We can live without it. I'm like, he talking real spicy.
Well, I was just reading some reports that Apple is moving the production of their chips and phones from China to Taiwan or Vietnam. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which has the largest tariff.
Well, Vietnam was the first country to call Trump when he levied those taxes a few weeks back.
Yeah,
I think Vietnam was the first country to call him, and they hammered something out quick. I think, or they
love you. They love you so much, boy.
But if you look at the chart, most of the people are down to 10%. There's only a few countries that
everybody's down to 10% except China.
And this is where it first started. Look at Vietnam. But I think Vietnam now is a lot less. And now you got the world chart that tell you which country are paying 10% and stuff. And it's a lot of shit changed over you know what it is, and nobody will ever give him compliment, but he wanted to look at this. Everybody almost down to 10%. You see that?
Yeah.
There's only a few countries like Guyana. What the fuck does Guyana have that we got to charge them that much?
Bananas.
As a West Indian,
you can get bananas from Dominican Republic, like platanos and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, Rob, I literally had that conversation earlier in the week because my country, Trinidad, is right above Guyana. Yeah. And we were talking about this, and it's like Guyana, they used to have gold back in the day. Like back in the day, they were like gold mines, but they're abandoned. I don't think they have gold. They have there's rainforests out there, but there's not much in Guyana. Like a friend of mine wanted me to buy like 10 acres of land in Guyana
for like $20.
Yeah. Good deal.
It was a farm. It was an old gold mine. So he would say I would need to get like the geologist to go out there to make an assessment and do all of this. Because I was like, if I were to do it, I'd probably buy a farm and and just maintain. But there's nothing in Guyana. Like there's 2 major towns, and I'm like, the only thing I would use Guyana for is to go to Trinidad. There's nothing in Guyana.
Well,
So
all the Guyanese are in freaking Richmond Hill. There's and Ozone Park. There's nobody in Guyana anymore.
Yeah, and with their backwards English.
Yeah,
but they're like Trump. People aren't giving Trump credit because all these major companies are saying, "Oh, we're building plants in Texas and Michigan and Arizona," and this is just coming out of the blue. They're just doing all this moving, and people are like, "Oh, the tariffs are good. It's going to be the end of the world. Oh, look at the stock market. Blah blah blah."
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
This is the thing that's happening right now, and nobody's going to come out and say it.
Mm-hmm.
You put those taxes on, and this is why rich people stay rich, and all these stocks are going down, and all his buddy and everybody else that got any money, they're buying stock like crazy.
Dude, I bought like over $2,000 worth of stocks.
It's going to go up, but people are bugging out because people with small minds or people that just don't look at the big picture.
Yeah,
stock market's a thing you put in and you don't look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always long term. Always long
term, because if you start to look at it, you will
lose. So crazy.
Oh yeah, no, I my whole pension is in all that. Yeah. Okay, and I've watched it. I've been retired 3 years in June coming up. Mm-hmm. I've watched it go up. I've watched it go down. I've watched it. Yeah. I lost a lot of money in the last few weeks, but it's starting to come back. It's all going to even out because it always does. These guys want money too, so it's nothing to worry about.
And the thing about it is, if you look at California about a year or two ago, they said that 40% of the board had to be women. So Tesla was like, you know what, we're moving to Texas.
Yeah.
So when you have people moving into like these more inland countries, these middle America states, like I hear Iowa's going to be like the big place to be like the next 10 years for manufacturing and stuff like that.
Freedom cities.
Also, it has to do with Trump is trying to get something through where they sell federal land. All right. Mm-hmm. If you look at how much federal land there is in those states, in the Midwest and heading towards the West, so many. I mean, I think I don't know if it's Utah or North Dakota. It's like the whole state is federal land.
Yeah.
And they want to sell it off, which is money that we could use to patch the deficit or whatever we need to do.
Yeah. Okay? Internet.
And have these companies build factories and create jobs on this federal land. Mm-hmm. If he gets that done, that would be huge.
Oh, but like I was saying this earlier, Democrats are going to fight that because what happens if you build these things? Let's say you go to a red state that has 2 electoral points, and now you start getting, and once a factory is built, cities build around the factory.
Exactly.
Right now, you got thousands of people. Now, a state that had 2 electoral points has 8.
Yeah,
or 10, or whatever.
It just gets bigger. Yeah, you're right. You're 100%.
And it's a red state, and that they know that they don't want that.
I was talking to a guy I know is a big Trump supporter, and I had to kind of correct him about something. Mm-hmm. He was saying how a lot of factories in like Brooklyn and Queens and stuff are going to reopen.
Yeah,
I said no. I said, you know why? And he goes, why? I said, because they're all fucking condos now.
Yeah,
they converted.
Yeah,
most of these old factories and stuff into loft space.
It would have been Williamsburg.
Right.
It would have been Red Hook.
Williamsburg, Red Hook, Brooklyn, all these Bushwick, all these industrial spots, either South Bronx.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. They converted they either knocked them down or actually converted them into residential buildings.
Now, what they could, there's a bunch of places that were factories on Staten Island. Like Procter and Gamble used to be on Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they made soap and Hostess cakes and all that stuff. Those buildings are still there.
Yeah.
So you could move factories there, but it's Staten Island. Nobody's going to do it.
Well, if you make it, how far is it from the ferry?
Oh, dude, it's on the other side of the island. It's by the Gothels Bridge.
It probably would benefit Jersey more.
Yeah. Because what I would say, if you make it financially attractive,
everybody, I grew up in the projects by there, so everybody in the projects would be working at the factory, so that would be jobs.
Wait! You grew up in the projects and you're talking this shit?
Oh shit!
Oh man, no, it's true. I mean, Giuliani did it in the '90s. Okay, he seduced these companies to come into New York City, transformed Times Square and other areas, rezoned things. Okay, parts. I know Sunset Park got like totally rezoned to at the time.
Like Google.
He could maybe do it again. I don't know.
You know what?
Leadership. Google. Well, the U.S. has so much power because we are the biggest consumer nation in the world. And
70% of the world's.
It's not even close.
So I explained it. Imagine you're a restaurant and 1/3 of your customers decide, oh, we're just gonna, make our lunch at home.
Yeah.
Where are you going to make up that other third?
Yeah.
So we've got the power. Like right now, China is hurting.
Yeah.
Because China can't sell to anybody. They can't say, oh well, we'll go sell to Taiwan. Taiwan is like, no. We've got our own industrial base. And they raised their tariffs on Chinese goods coming in because they don't want it to kill their domestic production.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus they got the finger on the trigger with them. Why would they help them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, also there's that whole thing with when Mao took over China, and the party when we moved to Taiwan. Now China's like
Shanghai Check and all that. Like he
China
basically ended up on there.
China believes that Taiwan is still a part of China, even though a lot of the world recognizes Taiwan as its own sovereign nation.
They don't. Yeah.
And then I remember, I think it was during Obama or maybe early Biden that they said that if China were to invade, United States would help Taiwan.
Well, there's a treaty that goes back to the 1950s. All right.
Yeah.
That basically it's no nonsense. It's clear as a bell. If they get invaded, we go in. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's something that I hope never happens, but we've tried to get around it over the years with the one China policy and things like that. Because for many decades, there was a two China policy. We saw two Chinas. Now they've been a lot of the Democrats and Republicans, not just one group, but they've that's part of the problem that gave China a lot of the strength that it has is we got away from that where we said, no, Taiwan is a legitimate partner in this area. We got away from that. And all we say is, okay, just don't invade them. We'll back them up. But they don't give them any, they don't bring them to the table in negotiating and things like that.
That's not good.
Well, they're afraid of them because the U.S. is saying, well, you know what? Taiwan they're producing their chips.
Yeah.
And was it Texas or Arizona? They're building a big plant in Arizona. So and that pisses off China.
Yeah.
Well, too bad. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if you have a free trade system and a free market system, everybody can do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to. I'm all for getting good products from other countries as long as they're not astronomically expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other countries for our goods. That's what all this really is, and that's what so many people don't understand is that they think it's because it's Trump, they can't think clearly about it.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that the tariffs work two ways. Number one, it's a negotiating tactic. Okay, forces you to the table, which is what Trump is all about. And also, when you have tariffs, you could, you take that money and ultimately you want to lower taxes. or get rid of taxes.
Well, think about how much money in tariffs we've made just in the past, like, what?
Month.
Yeah.
Billions.
Billions.
What are they doing with that money?
I don't know.
Let's hope they're doing the right thing with it, you know?
Well, maybe they'll get audited by Doge.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up. If that tariff money went somewhere it shouldn't have. Maybe in the next show, I'm going to talk about, because I don't know all the details yet.
Do you see that whole thing that happened with
DeSantis?
With Penn Station?
Yeah.
The federal government pretty much took over. They're going to give like a to Amtrak. So they're going to move Madison Square Garden to where the post office is, and Penn Station is going to be like a.
Well, they were talking about this. The lease is, I think it's another 10 years for the garden, and then they're going to move it.
Yeah, but they also want to do it in a way that doesn't disrupt people.
Yeah, because I need to play the games.
They just finished Penn Station. All that thing. It looks beautiful now. They just finished it. And before it looked like The Walking Dead. Now they it looks almost like Grand Central. You don't see that.
Yeah.
If you look at Penn Station, it's supposed to be, because you have Amtrak there, you have Jersey Transit, you have Long Island Railroad. Like, it's supposed to be this major transportation hub. Yeah. It's supposed to look like Grand Central.
Yeah.
And if you know the history of it, it actually did at one point. The original Penn Station was torn down and thrown into the Meadowlands and the swamps, the pieces of it. Okay, you can actually go there and find like these, Art Deco pieces of steel and structures like gargoyles and things like that dumped right into the swamp. It's one of the worst cases ever of like a landmark being destroyed.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some old movies and stuff that was shot there, and you're like, wow, that place looked beautiful. What the hell happened? But what I was going to bring up is the thing with DeSantis, this story that just broke like a day or two ago. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. Apparently, there was some Medicaid and Medicare funds that he stopped, but moved the money into some kind of political PAC. Okay, for him. And then there's all some kind of like dark web kind of shit going on too. Okay, and the story is just breaking, but it looks really bad for him, and his wife's involved too, because supposedly his wife, forget her name, but she's going to run for governor because he can't run again. So is he stealing money? I mean, is that what they're? Have you heard?
You know what? I'm skeptical of that. I mean, that would be so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I know. That's what
you know what they?
Where did the story? Who broke the story?
Yeah, exactly.
I heard it. I was driving. I was doing my cab shift, and I heard it on ABC radio at like 4:00 in the morning. All right, and who knows?
If it was that big, it would be all over the news.
Yeah.
They're probably misreported.
Especially here. Like, if it was really something big, Whoopi Goldberg would have had a whole hour thing on the View.
Speaking of Whoopi, I don't want to talk about it too much. I can't stand the woman, but there was a clip I saw on a news show of The View, and she sounded like a conservative. Did you see this clip?
No. What she said?
She said that maybe it's a good thing that Trump is going after the Department of Education, okay, because it will give the power back to the states. This is Whoopi saying this. It'll give the power back to the states, and then as parents, we would be able to have more control and finally give the kids a good education and what we got to do. Now, of course, coming from her, what good education means, I don't know. Okay, but those words alone. I mean, Sonny Hostin was sitting there like, what? And they went to commercial, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to hear what the hell was said during the commercial.
Well, you got to remember though, like they've been hit with lawsuit after lawsuit.
The View?
Somebody beat them.
I don't think The View hasn't been sued yet. The View hasn't been sued.
No. Or was it The View or was it the People?
No, none of them have been sued yet because they keep having to read those disclaimers.
Yeah. Well, Sunny she has her own problems with her husband getting hit with a RICO case.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she dropped a dime on him on TV.
I know.
What did she do, Rob? What did she do?
She just was talking about her husband does all this work for
like pro bono
and it goes to other places, and it's like you can't do that, man. And, you know, it's almost like a doctor here going to Texas doing an abortion.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get Judge Boasberg, so she'll be fine.
But they went after her husband right away after that show. It was like pretty bad, and they found a lot of things, which was like she put eggs in her face. She should have kept her mouth shut.
She can't keep her mouth shut.
No, she's a total idiot.
I got to tell you, I wish there was like a kind of a Giuliani kind of guy running for mayor. Because these guys that are running, they're all clowns. I don't like none of these motherfuckers.
They're not going to elect them in New York. Is so deranged.
One guy, I think you got one guy I think he's for Wakaba. He want to shut down the shit and like he's like a malicious motherfucker. You got the other fucking ugly ape. Dude, these people suck. These people suck.
And I know you hate Sliwa too.
I hate them. I hate them all, man. They all suck.
This election.
You know what they should do the election? I got a good idea for election. They should get a firing squad. You know the motherfucker who's ever standing, you better do the right job.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking, Rob. You give everybody a sword and a shield. Put them in an arena. Take them to Shea Stadium. Put them in the arena, and the last person standing is the mayor.
And you play the Spock fighting Kirk music in the back.
You know the thing is, Adam will probably kill those motherfuckers, that veggie eating motherfucker.
I don't know, man.
Maybe Sliwa will get some shots in. He's got a little training, but
Mayor Nipples, but don't underestimate him.
Oh God, you just reminded me of that.
He'll probably win this trial by combat. He'll hide until the last man wins, and then he'll come out and hit him from the back.
You know what Homer will do? He's a guinea cocksucker. He'll probably call it mafia, have him all wacky.
His old mafia uncle to whack everybody.
Is anybody is anybody running gay, openly homosexual? No. Okay. No. See, because then Cuomo could bring back, vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
I remember that.
I do too. I'll tell you, I was a kid when that was going on, and they had signs up and down Queens Boulevard with that. They put them on the street the street signs, signs and the street lights. And I remember asking my father, "What does that mean?" I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Tell you when you're older."
Tell you when you're older.
What does homo mean?
I think my mother went to my dad when she saw that thing, and she goes, "That's what the next door neighbor is."
Oh shit!
But there was time the guy will get fucking. He'll bring people to the house and they will rob him and steal his shit. And the next day, you hear a chair, boom, 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 boom.
Oh god!
The chair that gotta go in there, let him go. Oh no! It happened again. They would take his money and steal everything.
So Eric,
yes,
you said earlier that you've been paying attention to these court hearings. Let's get a report from you. Can you give us a download what's going on?
Okay, so the biggest thing right now is the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that a district judge cannot tell the executive branch what to do in foreign affairs.
Correct.
So for those who don't know, Judge Boasberg told the executive branch they couldn't send those planes, right? Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court said he had no authority to give that ruling. Now what Boasberg is doing, he's trying to hold the administration in contempt of court for not following his illegal order, or supposedly not following his illegal order, which is nuts.
How does he even have the right to do that? How does that even happen?
Right. So Trump appealed it. The appeals court put that contempt proceeding on hold as they try to figure out what's going on. In also, the SCOTUS just ruled this morning that there's a hold on deportations of Venezuelans out of Louisiana because the ACLU did it the right way. They went to Louisiana. They got a habeas corpus.
Yeah.
It went to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS said, for now, it's not a ruling against. They said, but for now, just hold off until you hear from us.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess they got it, and maybe they'll make a final ruling with this.
Yeah.
So they just end it.
Well, but SCOTUS already said, he said a district judge, these district judges can't do nationwide injunctions.
But they've been doing this for so long.
Because there's no consequence. Did you know a judge, there was a case back in the day where a judge and a prosecutor conspired to force a woman to have an abortion, right? Yeah. It's totally illegal, right? The judge knew it was illegal. The appeals court said it was illegal. Mm-hmm. Nothing happened to the judge or the prosecutor because you can't. They have that immunity like presidents have and like Congress has. Anything they do in the course of their job, even if it's illegal,
they don't get prosecuted.
No consequences.
That's got to change. Can the DOJ? Can this DOJ do something about that?
No, that has to come from Congress.
Okay.
Why? And it has to come from,
if you're doing something illegal, doesn't that fall under Department of Justice?
It does, but Congress said that you can't prosecute a judge. Just like Congress said you can't, or the Constitution, through the Constitution, Congress said you can't prosecute a sitting president.
Well, we know that.
Okay, yeah, but judges and prosecutors have that same immunity. They can do something absolutely wrong. Now, they can be
also
impeached.
A mayor.
Yeah. They can be impeached.
And Adams is a perfect example of that.
They can be impeached, but the whole process has to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these judges, they know there's nothing you can do. So they, even though SCOTUS just said 9-0, you can't do it. They still keep doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And they're using this as a weapon against the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that's why that no rogue judge or whatever bill that just passed the House is in the Senate. That's why that needs to get passed, because that says that district judges, their rulings have to stay within the district.
Right.
So by law,
at the very least,
it's supposed to stay in their district.
Yeah.
Right. By law.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah. They keep doing it anyway. But if Congress passes a law, let's say a judge does that, the appeals court has no choice but to throw it out.
Yeah.
Now, all that being said, if they were able to do that, mm-hmm. that fixes it right there, because no district judge could overturn something that the president is doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, because it's not in their jurisdiction.
Yeah. Well, see, here's a game that the district judges play, because they still would have that immunity if they did it wrong, right? So what Boasberg is doing with Trump right now, he told them to turn those planes around. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the authority to do that. So what they'll tell you to do is they'll say, Mike, push knowledge off a cliff. And you go, I ain't going to do that, right? And then an upper court says, yeah, don't do that. That's illegal. Then he'll say, okay, it's illegal, but that was my order and you didn't do it. I'm holding you in contempt.
You're contempt of court.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And that's their game they're playing right now.
Yeah. Shit. And it's really, they know what they're doing because it's slowing down the whole process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're trying to set up impeachment. That's what they're trying to do.
Well, yeah, because they want, eventually what they're hoping, and I think they're gambling on, the Democrats, is that in the midterms elections, they get the House. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Which there's no, I haven't seen any polls yet. It's too early, anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I mean, historically it happens, but
nothing is nothing.
But they keep shooting themselves in the foot, especially with this Garcia stuff.
What? That's going to be the big. That's going to be the big. The midterm election is going to be a huge one, because that will tell you where the country is. Because
because if they get the House, they'll just impeach him again.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
Hey, you know what? You know what's going to happen? They'll probably win again.
It's
ridiculous. You can't use impeachment for your gains. It doesn't fix anything. You can't fucking anytime somebody because you don't like it, you can't just start impeaching fucking people for no reason at all. You know, these people are out of the fucking mind now, you know?
Yeah.
They try to do it twice. He survived twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's see what the country's like a year from now. After the tariffs die down and more money starts flowing into the country, people are gonna be like, well, you know what? Everything's all right.
Yeah.
You know,
gas is going down.
Yeah,
Not a lot in the last few weeks.
I paid
down about a quarter already, about 25 cents.
I paid it's by me it's $3.39 for mid range at the BP down the block from me, which is good because it used to be like
what's the regular about 305 something like that?
No, regular is $2.99.
Yeah, I'm paying anywhere from $2.79 to $2.99.
Well, I follow I've been following the prices of ground beef for like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And as soon as Trump took office, like about, I'd say a month after, it dropped $1 a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, you know.
Numbers don't lie. And people go, well, it's just seasonal. I go, no, it's been that high for freaking 4 years. And then as soon as he gets in office, it suddenly drops.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry. If this tariff stuff works out in our favor, and I'm 99% sure it will. All right, I think it has to at least get these people to the table, and will definitely come up with some kind of free trade agreement. Hopefully, no tariffs. You don't need them if as long as you have that agreement in place. Okay.
Well, they also it's not just the tariffs. They have to buy equal to what we buy.
Right.
And energy is the main way. We got tons of energy.
Well, I mean, go back just a couple of years, okay? The Biden administration stopped the selling of natural gas to Europe, okay?
Yeah. And we were a net exporter of energy.
Right. Well, that's how Trump left Biden as a net exporter of that. He stopped that. Now, the other part of that story is Speaker Johnson went to visit Biden. This was not too long before the election, and said, hey, you know, because he's from Louisiana and there's a big export of yes. He said, hey, you know, Mr. President, you signed an executive order stopping natural gas exporting out of my state to Europe. Why did you do that? All right, it hurt our economy.
Yeah.
Biden responded by saying he didn't do that. Okay, he said, and then Johnson said, yes, you did. I saw the order, you know, and he said, no, that was just to study the concept of doing that. Okay, in other words, we were it was an executive order to study the shutting down of that industry towards Europe. So that story, being bad as it is for the economy, is also showing that Biden was not in control.
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't even know what he was fucking signing. All right.
If he signed it at all, did they use the auto pen?
Could have been the auto pen.
In his defense, did he even know what day it was?
Probably not. You know, I mean, he was out talking the other day. He came back, he made a speech.
And everybody was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats had to go like, oh God.
Yeah, it's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, but he, you know, he rambled for a minute. You didn't know what the hell he was saying, and then he said something about Trump fucking things up. And like, dude, like, just go away, go eat your ice cream. You know, sit.
Well, they got AOC as the head of the party now. So.
AOC, Cory Booker, and Crockett.
Cory, I don't gotta pee.
Yeah, I don't pay for 24 hours, Crockett.
You know what? That guy's definitely the motherfucker of the fucking month.
Of the month.
All you got to do is, if you're talking about Booker, all you got to say is one word: Newark. Okay.
Yep, Newark.
Newark.
Oh my God!
If you look,
that whole
mayor
story.
of Newark. Look at Newark.
Look at the fucking guy from Jersey, the Mendez with the gold bars and the wife. What the hell happened there?
well, remember what I said? I think it was the first episode. Any city, any major city that's ran by a Democrat, shit show.
Yeah, they all are basically.
Yeah, you can look at fucking Seattle. even Minnesota.
Well, look at where all these crazy judgments are coming from. It's all, they're not coming out of like red states. They're coming out of like Maryland and New York and Seattle. All these district judges are like nuts.
So now, somebody I saw, I don't know if this is true, but somebody posted, I think it was yesterday, that AOC should run for president in 28, or the Democrats are grooming her to run. One, I don't think she'll run because they'll cut it to her money. Two, she would.
That's two.
She won't win.
No, dude, Stephen A. Smith would win if she ran.
Yeah, and there's people that think he's going to run.
Yeah, you know what? If Democrats put him up there, he's going to get slaughtered.
Yeah,
he's going to get slaughtered.
Dude, let me tell you, what the Republicans should do, they should just get a monkey and run the monkey, and the monkey will win. Because this is how bad shit is.
At this point, yep.
It's that bad. And
if
I'm the Democrat,
pay attention.
but if I'm the Democrats, I would just be like, you know what? We're not going to win in 28. Lick our wounds and get a viable candidate for 32.
Well, here's the thing about Democrats. They're through all these court things, they keep trying to attack Trump. He's not going to run again. So he doesn't care.
He's a lame duck. He can do
let's say they did impeach him. That puts Vance in the seat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't want that.
That puts Vance in the seat and probably puts Marco Rubio as the vice president.
They do not want that.
Okay.
Oh. No, now you just
want to see some fucking. There'll be some fucking. There'll be some fucking.
But Eric, you just brought up something. Okay, you said he can't run again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, we know that the Constitution has an amendment,
but there is a way around it.
Okay, now I want to talk about this because Trump being Trump, he's got to be a dick. Okay, and he wants to see them melt down, so he's out there joking. Maybe he's not joking. He's out there saying that he's going to run again, which is making them all melt down on social media. He's laughing all the way. Okay, but what is the way around that?
Okay, so Vance appoints Trump as his vice president.
Then steps down. Trump becomes appointed, not elected. Of course. Could he bring Vance right back as VP?
Yeah. Now, granted, that would cause
there'd be a fucking riot.
And that would be in the courts forever.
Yeah.
But technically, that's how he could do it. I don't think he should do it that way. I don't think he should run again.
I kind of have a problem with it. I mean, you can't really, that would be fucked up. But, if he tried, and just ran a campaign like he was running for re-election, what's really stopping him?
You can do that. People can scream, and that would take all the pressure off of anybody else who wants to run.
It'd be a nice distraction.
Yeah.
Because you could have Vance as kind of a backup, and he could be running over here, and then you got Trump taking up the whole media thing, saying, "Hey, he wants to be a dictator. He's a fascist. Look, he's running again, and he's not supposed to." I mean, it would be like.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Trump put out there, he said he doesn't think Vance is his successor.
Yeah.
Right? So nobody's focusing on Vance anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the genius of Donald Trump. Okay, is he knows how to fuck with the media and control it. He knows.
No, he knows how to troll the media.
Troll the media. Well, that's what he's doing. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the president of El Salvador has the trolling like award.
Oh yeah.
That guy is savage.
Yeah, yeah.
When he said
that does not get two shits.
When they asked him in the press conference how he's going to bring that Garcia, he said, "Will you bring Garcia back?" And he was like, "No. What do you want me to do? Smuggle a terrorist in the United States?"
You know who was really classy and was met Trump this week was Meloni from Italy.
Yeah.
She first of all, I think she's beautiful. Okay. Second of all, you could just tell that she's totally in Trump's corner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because she's like down with the whole immigration thing too. She's like, yo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Italy has been affected by all that as well, and they've seen their own problems. I think it's not as bad there as it is in like Germany and England.
Oh, Germany's
that, but what's that?
France.
Fucked.
Say again.
Germany.
Yeah, they're
Germany's
screwed.
fucked. Germany's
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
England is fucked. Ireland is getting fucked.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but the Irish are fighting back. Okay,
Yeah.
They're fighting Irish?
they're fighting Irish. They're actually they're combining Protestant and Catholics together over this, which is like, whoa, they're watching their country be lost as well. I mean, you go to England, there's no English culture anymore. It's all Middle Eastern, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know who doesn't have that problem?
Somebody got in trouble
Japan.
for flying the Union Jack.
What's that?
Somebody got in trouble last year for flying the Union Jack,
In
like
England?
their flag. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. They're all woke and stupid, Japan doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, Japan doesn't have it.
They don't have immigration.
No, they don't. You can't.
It's almost
You
impossible to
can't-
become a citizen of Japan, too.
Oh yeah. They're not
Yeah,
pleasant.
it's almost impossible to become a citizen of Japan. You can stay for a while,
Yeah.
but after a while, you got to go.
Yeah.
Like if you sneak into Japan, they throw you into Mount Fuji.
No, they feed you to Godzilla.
I was just going to say, feed you to Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Took it out of my brain, man. Wow. Feed you to Godzilla or Rodan or somebody. All right. So great show today, guys. There he is. There he is showing the tariffs. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode of I Am Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm gonna throw this picture up before every show.
You liked what I posted that yesterday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Serious.
All right. Good seeing all you guys. And what do we say, Rob, at the end of every show?
We don't get drunk,
We get lumped up.
and we'll
That's it.
see you next time.